2, 1. Episode 200. Guest, plenty to talk about. Another milestone in the chamber. Chris, hit my intro.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Chris Crenshaw. We are live from the 704. What's the area code for Canopolis?
The 7.
704. We live from the 704 once again for episode 200. 200 straight weeks of this. 200 straight weeks of the Abington Exchange. I am joined by my boy Zhang. Welcome back to the Abington Exchange.
Sir, good to be back.
We got a special, it's a special episode, 100, 200, these are always special milestone episodes. So I got a couple of my friends coming on to some of these different segments to talk about it with me. So, we started at a time, talk about everything that happened. So we got UFC 302 in the fight game. We got Deontay Wilder, the bronze bomber. Unfortunately, it's done for him. It's done for him. All right, why Jake Paul is still fighting Mike Tyson, I still don't know. Aaron Judge is still on the tear. Real Madrid cannot gain in the Champions League, and a whole lot more in the world of sports and entertainment. There's always more to like, share, and subscribe if you guys are enjoying the content. And timestamps, as always, are embedded in the video and provided in the description. Zay, you can shout out your social media links.
Okay, absolutely. Go ahead and follow my Instagram, ZayRichYT, and Zay Agma. Also, I have a YouTube channel, Zay Rich. We do geek culture stuff, nerd culture stuff, gaming, sports, all that. Go ahead and subscribe right now.
Make sure. We'll put that in the description as well, so you can find that there. Like I said, I always say, with that being, you do find any sort and down in my description. So yeah, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for a fight game. It's time for the fight game, and UFC 302 was a UFC event. It was a UFC event. It wasn't really anything special. It wasn't 298. It wasn't 299. It definitely wasn't fucking 300.
300.
But we'll start with the bright spot, likely, because that was the main event. The main event almost tried to make up for what was not a very entertaining, to be completely go with you, UFC 302 card of the reigning defending champ, the pound king, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
As well. It was a pocket check. Took out Dustin Poirier in round 5 with the RSA choke. Chong remained atop of lightweights. Warrior Dustin.
Well, my thoughts were Islam, my dad. You don't never bet against Russians.
Never. Dagestan
is different. You don't bet against Russians. Even on, there was another fight, Lumikar, he was Odalov. Yeah, don't fight. Don't bet against Russians. But Islam, this is probably, other than the first Volk fight, this was the most trouble he's had in the fight. Dustin was competitive. I think he broke his nose, though. I think he broke his nose in one of the rounds.
That's right. He broke his nose and he said he tore his ACL as well. Didn't
know that. But he broke his nose. That affected him quite a lot. But Islam, I think Islam, as far as his stand-up game has gotten a lot. He was getting the better of Dustin on some exchanges. But I did think that Dustin had a shot. He had very good takedown defense. That was some of the best takedown defense I've ever seen against a Dagestani fighter. And I think Islam only landed 5 to 8.
Yep, that's right.
5, yeah.
And especially those first 3 rounds, I think that was some of the best defense you've seen, like you were saying, against Islam. Especially as dominant as he's been. And a lot of people thought Dustin, getting up there at age only 35 years old now. A lot of people wondering, how did he still have that mobility? Should have bounced in his first 3 rounds piece. So
yeah, that was a good looking Dustin. But I love Dustin Poirier, but I don't think he's as long as Islam is there, he's not gonna have that championship. He's probably gonna get maybe 3 more fights. They'll probably bring it up.
Close the show, yeah. But still, I think probably UFC Hall of Famer.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. He's put on bangers.
Exactly. He's just unfortunately been
Yeah, I mean,
Some two generational fighters, you know what I mean? That's what back in the division.
sometimes, look, Robert Whittaker.
Exactly.
Some people just going to be number two. Like, and it's not bad. It's not effing
Down the fight game.
It's just what it is. Yeah.
It's just how it is.
You got Robert Whittaker. You got all types of number twos. Max is a number two now.
Yep.
He is a number two. But, I mean, it's Dustin's had a great career. I mean, if he hangs up right now, Hall of Fame automatic.
So, yeah. What do you think should be next for Islam before I transition in that? You go up, take on Leon and one Southerly. If you stay at 155, keep rating this team.
I think Harmon would be the most interesting of the matchup Bill dudes. Because they have obviously have history there. But I think Leon I think it's more so on Leon's side than Islam's side. I think Islam is really the more dominant champion. But I think Leon needs to get past Commission. Yeah.
He's got London and stuff in place.
That's unbelievable. But
which is why it takes so long for Dana to book them.
God, that's going to be a foreign fight. But the law, he needs to get past him. I'm not sure. Welterweight is a little drained.
It's a little drained, and it's partially because you had Colby kind of holding on that division with whether he's going to fight or not. That kind of bouncing back and forth, and we thought he's due for a title shot.
Hamza needs to. I don't know what happened because he used to really want to fight everybody.
It's going on everybody.
Everybody. I think he fought 4 times in a year.
Yeah. Yep, and then slow down. Well, COVID
happened. Yeah, COVID
has been he's compromised, so it took some time off, and hasn't really regained that kind of before. Maybe it was still been 9 years. He did fight the guy that was in the co-main event. Unfortunately,
this co-main event was not as entertaining as that co-main event. As Sean Strickland, once again, Sean, he always talks about taking heads, but it was some more classic, jab to death. Yeah. And it was a fairly boring fight, to be completely honest with you. Sean Strickland does get the split decision win over Paulo Costa, which is kind of controversial because one of the scorecards by one Dave Torelli was 4-1 Costa.
That was crazy because
choice.
Costa wasn't doing anything to Strickland. Anything. The only round he got realistically in my books was the 5th round. Mm-hmm. Actually, not even the 5th round because that was just his most active round. Yeah. But Strickland, first off, he goes and does his little routine. He's one of the hardest fighters to fight because of his style. Perfectly fine.
Yep.
Perfectly fine. If it gets you to win, it gets you to win. Mm-hmm. But he turns it up in the last minute. Last minute. And it's only whenever he knows he's
coasting, yeah.
Paulo has lost his mojo since Izzy. Yeah. That Izzy fight.
The aura is gone.
It's gone.
The aura is gone.
It's gone. He is not aggressive anymore. He's not walking down anybody.
That was a special one. Him coming out.
He's
just like a Terminator. He's a Terminator. Yeah,
he's a racer.
A racer is erasing nothing. Sean Strickland makes easy work of him. He gets it done, split decision again. We don't ever need to see that fight again. And Sean Strickland continues to. I don't even know how to feel about Sean, to be completely honest with you. However, we did have one little bit of excitement besides the main event on the main card. Yeah. And that came through Kevin Holland.
Trailblazer.
Who always comes through. Big mouth. Trailblazer. Always. Win or lose comes through. He takes his place as the premier gatekeeper in that division. His words though.
No, that's facts.
I'm going to try to say his opponent's name, which is a Polish name, and I'm going to butcher this, my brother. I'm going to butcher this. Michelle Olesijuk. We just call Michelle.
Better than what I was going to say. I'm just going to call him.
We're just going to call Michelle. But, of course, Big Mouth Holland takes care of him in the first round. Breaks his arm.
Quick fashion.
Which I don't know if I've ever seen an arm break. And then the opponent tries to argue that.
Yeah, it was crazy. I was the arm was bending the other way. it was insane. He was like, bro, what are you? He was talking to, I think it was Herb.
Yeah, it was her.
He was talking to Herb Dean like his arm wasn't facing the other way. Like, come on, bro. But like that was really crazy because like, first off, Kevin Holland, he's like, God, he's one of my favorite fighters, but he's probably never touching the top 5.
Nope.
Just because of he's like probably one of the most active fighters out there. He just fights anybody.
He's always going.
He's always going to go higher or lower.
Which for better or worse, yeah, with his skill set, for better or worse.
Yeah, man. I don't think he's really. I don't know why he went back up to middleweight.
Mm.
I think he's better suited at welterweight. But
Yeah.
even when there's guys like, if there's any, put it this way, if he was in the 2010s, I think Holland's a champion. Seriously. Without like the prevalence of wrestling. Like
how much that's phenomenal.
wrestling is like the top profession. I mean, fighting
Discipline,
discipline in MMA today. If there isn't that prevalence of wrestling in MMA right now, he's a champion. He can bang with
just about anybody.
Anybody.
He's got a punch of chance against anybody.
Anybody, bro. Now that arm break, crazy. He got knocked down and then did the arm break.
Crazy scenes, but Kevin Holland, once again, as always, delivering the goods. Like I said, this UFC 302 card was honestly nothing to write home about. I'll quickly recap some stuff, and then you can, if you got anything else. Randy Brown, I think that was the first fight on the main card. Actually had a pretty decent fight against Easy D. He got the UD. Randy Brown continues to build some momentum moving forward. Both Almeidas, both Jalton and I believe his brother or his cousin, got wins on the undercard and the main undercard fights. Zhang with a pretty nice rear naked choke on Romanov. And yeah, that was about it for the World Series.
Actually, I think was the other Almeida. The other Almeida was the.
Wait, did he fight Kovalov?
Yeah, no, Kovalov.
No, not Kovalov.
Yeah.
What was it, Kovalov? Yeah, it was. Kovalov got the win.
Got
it's Almeida. So, yeah. So John gets it done, and then, like you said, Kovalov continues to momentum in that division. Up next for the UFC, of course, is 303, the highly anticipated. Finally, we're getting this. Finally. We've talked about it for, I think,
About a year.
About a year. Michael Chandler versus Conor McGregor, which is purely main eventing off of vibes and name recognition. There was no title, just off of fireworks. How serious is Conor taking this fight? We don't know. He's partying in Ibiza every other day. So we'll see. But the press conference is going to be fun. Hopefully they both make it to the fight. Any quick predictions, even though we still got a month out. Actually, like 2 weeks.
Look, if the MMA gods will let this happen, please. McGregor needs to win. He needs to fight Islam. It needs to happen.
We need the Rocky story for Dagestan.
We need it.
We need the Dagestani Rocky story.
We need it. The way he talks so much trash on Twitter to Dagestani fighters. I'm not gonna say what he calls them.
For the sake of me not getting him out.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say what he calls them, but that fight needs to happen. I really do hope the matchmaking gods just bless us with that fight. Also, MVP is fighting.
Yep, in Gary.
Yes,
that's going to be a very good one as well. That's up there with McGregor.
Yeah, I saw that on the card. I was like, yeah, that's going to be fireworks right there.
So, 303 hopefully won't be a snooze fest like 302, but that was UFC for the week. So let's go to boxing real quick. As I stated in the intro, the Bronze Bomber returned for what he even said might be his last fight. He wanted to know if he still got it. And Zhang. Listen, I don't know if Zhang's ever going to be a champion, but he's a gatekeeper to the contenders. Right? There's levels of gatekeepers. There's gatekeepers to whether, I don't know if you need to be doing this, and there's gatekeepers to whether, you might want to champion.
It puts you in your place. Like,
exactly.
Some gatekeepers are really the ones.
He's the humbler.
He's the humbler.
Man,
look.
Deontay Wilder got humbled.
He got humbled. I didn't know much about Zhang before that fight. Oh my God. Oh my God. Deontay, he's pretty much the definition of a puncher's chance at this point in his career. And honestly, throughout his whole career, He's been a puncher's chance, and it's just the story of his life, honestly.
Just blessed with generational power.
Yeah, that's it. Like, if you look at his actual style, like, he doesn't have the greatest technical boxing ability.
Mm-hmm.
And it's shown. Ever since that Fury fight, it's shown.
Greatly, especially once he got to that elite level and started facing the real elites of that
It's
division.
shown. I think it would have, if he ever would have fought Joshua, he would have got wrecked.
Especially if he faced a more current, more refined version of Joshua, which we're seeing now.
Oh my God. It would be pretty.
He was decapitated.
It
might have been worse than this is what Zhang did.
That's what I'm saying. Like, first off, Zhang turned him around. Like, he looked at the ref like, yo, why he hit me like this? You gonna let me like this?
Why you doing it? What's in his glove? Right?
He's like, yo, hey.
This can't be illegal. That's what I do to people.
I'm like, then he turned back around.
Caught him smooth for
ragdoll mode.
The GTA does
like wasted. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh my God, like that was crazy. Like, I haven't seen him get knocked out like that.
Nah, absolutely brutal. Absolutely brutal. And speaking of AJ, in the co-main event for this event, by the way, which was actually a setup between Matchroom and I can't remember the other. It was two different promoters. Yeah. Matchroom, which is not our own, but Eddie Hearns.
Oh, okay.
They got swept. 5-0. 5-0. But part of that was because Daniel Dubois, the 26-year-old Brit heavyweights, set up his own matchup versus AJ, who we were talking about earlier. He took care of Flip Herdovich, who was building his own momentum, had been the number one contender for the IBF heavyweight title for almost a year, actually 2 years. But Dubois looked much improved in this fight. Stopped Herdovich on cuts. He will take on AJ. Will be very interesting, kind of who's been the boxer, bar Tyson Fury. But really, AJ's been the face of British boxing, let's be real. Versus the guy a lot of people kind of had tagged as maybe the future of British heavyweight boxing. So that'll be interesting. That's happening later on in the year, as well as Dmitry Bivol taking on Artur Beterbiev after he took care of business this past weekend as well. Remains unified at light heavyweights. That's going to be very interesting. I've been enjoying all the kind of undisputed fights we've been getting in boxing. It's better than having all the belts kind of scattered.
Yeah, boxing is really iffy when it comes to all the belts, man. All the federations.
And then try to keep up WBA, WBC, WBO.
That's a lot of cans.
Exactly.
There's too many cans.
Too many.
There's too many cans in boxing. That's
just to make the record look better. But I really just face comp. You face the comp you're supposed to face. But Bivol, basically, it was a tune-up fight. He takes care of business. He actually got the stoppage, I think, in 5. So, yeah, easy work. We're going to talk about that in October when, it's him and Beterbiev. Going to be one of the fights of the year, in my opinion. And to end off the segment before we have to close, of course, we have to talk about the fight that should not be happening. Mike Tyson, of course, if you didn't read the news this week, came down with an ulcer. So the fight with him and Jake has been postponed. We suggest it should be canceled.
Yeah, it doesn't need to happen. I don't get it, because Mike is old, man. We all know Mike is old. I don't know what he has. I don't know what motivation he has to fight this fight. He doesn't need to prove anything.
He doesn't need it at all.
He doesn't need to prove anything.
He could just be the OG, do his podcast.
Let him do his podcast. He got his gummies. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? He can do it. He can do anything else in the world. He does not need to box. I don't know what type of money is getting thrown his way. I can't fathom why he wants to get into the ring right now. And for Jake to accept that if you're in his position, why would you not?
Money recognition, I knocked out my hero.
Why would you not accept that? But at the same time, that man is an old man.
For Jake, who's been so adamant, and even I've defended him a little bit on this show about him wanting to be an actual boxer. This is not a fight you take if you're trying to build credibility. Beating an almost 60-year-old Tyson does nothing.
That does nothing to your credibility at all. First off, we really don't even know what division he would be in. Seriously.
Jake? Yeah.
We don't know.
He's probably 185.
Naturally, probably.
So,
but even at that, it's just like the only real boxer you faced was Tommy. You know what I'm saying? And then you lost. Like, give me something, man. Give me a real boxer so I can really evaluate your skill level. If you're claiming to be this good boxer, let me see your skill level against a real boxer. But yeah, let me see your real skill level against a real boxer. Nobody can see how good you are if you're facing former UFC fighters.
I don't need to see you fight Anderson Silva.
I don't want to see that.
You know.
Nobody wants to see you fight Nate Diaz or Jorge Masvidal. I swear that's a fight that would happen.
Yeah. Had Masvidal not completely just fallen off, would have happened.
That would have
They
happened.
were pushing for it.
But we don't need to see that. We don't need to see this fight. I hope it gets canceled, like for Mike's sake, his health. Let that man rest. he needs to lay down somewhere, man.
But yeah, I hope Jake takes a different opponent. Like you said, I mean, he kind of wrapped it up really, really well. Got to the point in this one, so we will see what happens. But, ladies and gentlemen, that was the fight game. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the Champions League. And if you couldn't tell, and by the way, Leo, welcome to the A15 Exchange. If you want to introduce yourself very briefly.
What's up, everyone? My name is Leo, the ultimate Real Madrid glazer. All right.
So, if you didn't know, somehow you just didn't watch the Champions League final for whatever reason, as expected, Real Madrid captured their 15th Champions League title. So I'm going to be completely honest with you. If you came for analysis this time, I'm so sorry. We're honestly just here to glaze. We're here to glaze Real Madrid. We got the Modric jersey here. We got the retro jersey here. Listen, I was talking crazy about Danny Carvajal. I'm not going to lie. Leo, we watched it on in this, sofa right here. I was talking crazy about Carvajal, but you know what? In my reflection, I have to give the man credit. Because now he is the joint tied record holder for 6?
Yeah, 6.
Him, Nacho,
Modric, and Kroos.
Crazy. 6. That's more than Barca. That's more than Barca. The only club that has more than 6 is
AC Milan.
AC Milan. And of course, the great Real Madrid. This is their competition, but yeah. Carvajal came through in the clutch. He got it done in the 74th minute. Again, Real Madrid is inevitable. The first half of this, went back and forth. Nothing too crazy, though. But Real Madrid in the Champions League, it's the black magic, the voodoo, whatever you want to call it, or just the Real Madrid aura. This is what they do. So they showed up when it mattered. 74th minute, Carvajal got it done. And then Vini puts himself, atop of the Ballon d'Or rankings.
Yep.
Madison gives him an absolute gift. Giroud gives him the assist, and Vini gets it done. As the premier Real Madrid fan here, how did you feel about that? Glorious day.
Well, first, I was honestly scared. So scared at first. Because Adeyemi with the complete whiff when he went past Courtois, oh my gosh, he messed that up. That was crazy. And then, of course, the offsides post. It did hit the post. It was offsides, but that was still a very scary moment.
Very close.
And I was like, yo, we got to, turn up now. All right? Because, Dortmund here to play.
Credit where credit's due, to Dortmund. They showed up. Adeyemi had, 2 opportunities in that first half. And really that one-on-one, I don't know how you don't score that. That was an awful first touch. Credit go to Courtois. This was his first game of the Champions League. First game from injury back. Lunin, of course, has done a great job for Real Madrid throughout the, UCL. And then they made the decision. Don Carlo, who never goes wrong. This is his 7th, by the way, as a player and as a coach. A record 7th Champions League. So Don Carlo also runs the Champions League. But he made the decision when with Courtois. Ends up being the right decision. We felt, we were a little bit, didn't know how to feel about that, but it ends up being the right decision. Back-to-back man of the matches for him. So,
Absolutely crazy. But yeah, and then I knew once you didn't make those first chances, I knew we were going to get one in. I knew if you don't punish Real Madrid like that, they're going to cook up the shit.
For sure.
And that's what happened. With Carvajal left him open. I know he's small, but that's crazy. They just left him completely open. And then, of course, the terrible pass. Madison and Jude with the assist to Vini.
Very fitting, though. I think the last goal of the season for Real Madrid is a Jude assist to Vini.
Yeah.
I think that kind of encompasses, and especially in the 84th minute or so, just kind of encompasses what was a great year, to be a Real Madrid fan and to be a player for Real Madrid. Did you see it in the celebration?
Yeah, I saw a lot of it. I saw the parade as well. That was Toni Kroos' last game, bro. It's crazy.
Him and Royce.
Yeah. I think it's also Nacho's last game, if I remember correctly. Modric, I believe at the parade said he's staying one more year. Mm-hmm. And then Fabrizio came out with the Mbappe announcement.
Of course. Because the only thing that can be fitting for a team for the scale of Real Madrid, the only thing that can make it bigger is get the best player in the world, or arguably the best player in the world. You know, the only way to escalate this after, you know, your 15th Champions League, how do we make this team possibly better? Kylian Mbappe is coming home.
Yep. Honestly, this season is completely surprising. I mean, we lost like Courtois, Big Dow, and Alaba for like the whole season at the beginning. And at that moment, I was like, all right, bro, I hope we like challenge for La Liga. You know, we probably might not get UCL with all these injuries, but I just hope we have like a good season. And then we turn around with no striker, all these injuries, and just turning up still because, I mean, it's Real Madrid, you know. It's absolutely crazy.
Guys finding ways to win in big moments. Joselo was the fourth choice striker or something like that to start the season. Of course, in the semifinal, he had those 2 goals that kind of put you all over the top. So yeah, Real Madrid always finds a way. There's nothing else to be said, man. Hala Madrid. That's the Champions League. That's soccer for a bit. Though, of course, we'll still be talking about, of course, when Mbappe officially announces and what else happens in the transfer window. But for now, that's UCL.
Mm-hmm. We'll get a 16th next season.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to entertainment. All right, entertainment for the week, nothing too crazy. All right, we do have some stuff finally. All right, the entertainment drought will soon be coming to a close because we will finally have television finally coming in this month of June. All right, May, for what it's worth, and as good as May was good for me, it was a little dry. Let's be honest, it was a little dry. You know, post come down of the rap civil war, and you know we had some stuff earlier in the month, but these last couple of weeks in May, nothing really happening in entertainment. Last week, nothing really happening. To be completely honest with you, Taylor Swift probably dropped about 15 different versions of the Tortured Poets to keep her at number 1. You know, just stuff like that. But we do have House of the Dragon. Love Island actually comes back tonight. For those of us that watch, you know, trash reality TV telly, we got that. So. Some stuff coming in entertainment, but we did have a few things happen in music that I will talk about. Starting off, all right, we going overseas before we come back and talk about Ian's Deluxe. But we're going to start off talking about K-Trap, Smile, ? All right, all caps, Smile. K-Trap, who I really got put on to listening to his project with Eddie 1 last year, which if you have not checked out, please do yourself the service and go check that out, especially if you try to get into that kind of British rap scene. Really good, really, really good project. Always been a fan of Hetty for a minute, but I didn't know too much about K-Trap until then. So listen to this full-length project, his first full-length project since that project with Hetty last year. Like I said, titled Smile. My 2 favorites off of first listen, Rockstar and Designer feat D-Block Europe and TBC. Those were my 2 that I was rocking with the most. Overall, very solid project. I wasn't sure, you know, if he was going to, you know, I didn't know. You know, coming off a feature project, you know, that's my first kind of introduction. I didn't know if he was going to be a little bit of a kind of like a one-trick pony, you know, if he was going to kind of be one-dimensional, but he showed off a little versatility here. Had some good stuff. I'm going to give it probably a 7.8, and I think that could go higher into the 8s. It could creep up, but yeah, I'm going to go 7.8, definitely above average. Nothing too crazy. Obviously, I'm not going to put that in like the, you know, best of, but still a very, very solid project. I enjoyed a lot of it. So, yeah, that definitely could be one of those that grows in rating. I should definitely do like an end of the year of all the music I've like reacted to, of all the music I've rated throughout the year. I should do like an end of the year. I should create like an Excel sheet with all of my ratings. But anyways, Smile, K-Trap, go check it out. It gets the cosign from me. Ian, all right, the underground speedrun. We've talked about it before here. We talked about it with Valedictorian 2 weeks ago. Some people, you know, the critics absolutely hated that album, which is not really surprising. I very much so enjoyed that album, right? I very much so, and I still very much so enjoyed that album. But, all right, he came back this week. We finally got, I had one request for the deluxe. I had run one request. If he dropped 1 song, he dropped 2 on the deluxe. But if he was to drop 1 song, I needed, the people needed, you at home, you needed Magic Johnson. And he did deliver that. So we got the full-length version of Magic Johnson. Finally, we got that on streaming. We don't have to, you know, get the YouTube version or whatever, like chuff version off of whatever Spotify podcast. Doesn't matter. All right, we got it. It delivered. We also got options, which was another leak that, has been out. So, he dropped both of those. Again, I believe I gave Valedictorian like an 8.4, 8.3. So, it's definitely going to stay there even with the deluxe. But, happy to finally get Magic Johnson. That's all that really matters because that is one of the songs of the summer, if we're being completely honest with you, at least for me. Now, let's handle some current business. All right, let's handle some current business because it is the end of the conference finals in the two ends. All right, the NBA and the NHL. But of course, we're gonna let the NBA get the main event. But we will talk about the NHL first. All right, we do have to talk about the National Hockey League. Western Conference Final ended yesterday, but before we get to that and the Oilers and the Stars, let's talk about who's coming out of the East. All right, the New York Rangers, President's Trophy. Dripped in glory. They've been dominant up to this point in the playoffs, but unfortunately, the Florida Panthers made the finals last year, and they made the Stanley Cup Finals for a reason. All right, so they do get the New York Rangers out of here in 6. Florida gets the win 2-1. Listen, this was a signature Sergei Bobrovsky game. Signature game for Bob. Absolutely signature game for him. And really, besides, I think game 2, he had a little bit of a rough one. In game 1, he was a little shaky, but overall, he's pretty solid. But the rest of the way, Bob was a big, big reason. He turned into that elite, goalie that you would expect him to be, and that we've seen him be throughout his career. He turned into that guy, and especially here in game 6, 23 saves, a .958 save percentage will get it done. That is the type of goalie performance that will steal games. That is so, so essential here, especially as late as we are in the playoffs, as we get closer. And now we are at the Stanley Cup Finals. Performances like the one from Bob, from your goalie, are completely invaluable. So, big performance from him. Sam Bennett continues to put goals in the net when it matters. Whether you love him or hate him currently, Bennett has delivered. All right, you cannot say anything else, but Sam Bennett has delivered for the Florida Panthers, especially in this playoff run. He gets the goal here. Him and Vladimir Tarasenko get it done. The bread man, Panarin, tries to get the Rangers back late, but they just run out of time and they run out of games. The Panthers take it 4-2. They advance to the Stanley Cup Finals. Now, who would be coming out the west side to take them on? Would Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, would the Edmonton Oilers finally make it to the Stanley Cup? Would they finally do it? Or is McDavid kind of subjected to a life of Trout, right? The way that Trout was the best player in baseball, but we never got to see him play meaningful games, never got to see him in a World Series. Would that be the curse for McDavid? Of course, they were taking on the Dallas Stars. We talked about them last week. A lot of veterans, a lot of great veterans, a lot of history, a lot of experience. And they were playing very, very well. Ryan Ottinger had been holding it down. And in game 6 last night, he only gave up 2. He only gave up 2 goals. Unfortunately, the Dallas Stars could not get that offense running. 33. Let me pull this up, actually, because I meant to put this in my numbers here. But I did not put this in my notes for today. But I have to pull this up because the shot differential was absolutely insane. 35 shots the Dallas Stars took. 35. 10 shots the Oilers took. That is a 25 shot differential. There are some games where some teams might not even get 25 shots. But in this game, a 25 shot differential, and it was Mr. Scott Skinner that stood on his head. 34 saves, .971, a classic, potentially an all-time performance to close out a team in a game 6 from a goalie. All right, reoccurring theme if you've seen here in the two finals, the 2 conference finals. Great goalie play. And honestly, besides, we've seen some great scoring performances. We've seen some dominant offense, especially when we're talking about the Oilers here. Some dominant offensive performances, but it's been the goalies. It has been the goalies every step of the way that have stolen games, that have taken it away, that have been able to make it happen in these big moments. And Skinner was that guy once again. An absolutely insane performance from him. Again, 34 saves is ridiculous. All right, it's ridiculous no matter how you kind of shape it. Connor McJesus was once again Connor McJesus. McDavid scored an absolutely obscene goal. You have probably seen it on social media, so it might even be like the cover photo, whichever side I choose. It was ridiculous. I don't even think you can really score that realistically on the NHL game. On NHL 24, the CPU probably just poke checks it. Like, he did it on Miro, by the way. No, it wasn't like some random top 6 defenseman. No, it was Miro. Crazy. All right, McDavid, best player in the world. He also leads the playoffs in scoring because, of course, he does. And actually, the Oilers as a team have the top 4. The top 4 points leaders here in the playoffs, including Bouchard, who was like the 5th fastest defenseman to 50 points in the playoffs. So yeah, the Oilers are rolling. McDavid and Hyman get it done. Marchment, again, very similar to the Game 6 we saw in the Eastern Conference. One team jumps out to a 2-0 lead. One team has a player, it's been a standout for them here in the playoffs. Gets one back, but it's not enough. And it was not enough for the Stars as they lose here in Game 6. And the Oilers finally have made it back to the Stanley Cup Finals, and McDavid finally gets his shot on the big stage. It's going to be an interesting one. The Panthers have been through the ringer. They've been through like everything you can expect in terms of physicality, drama. They've been through everything here throughout that Eastern Conference Final. They have dealt with it all, and they've come out on the other end. And again, this is back-to-back for them. So they've been here, done that. On the other hand, right, the Oilers have not been, at least with this generation, even with the great players they have not been to the dance. They are here for the dance for the first time. But let's be real, they have an offensive juggernaut, and they do have the best player on the planet. And probably another guy that is another top 5 player on the planet in Leon Draisaitl. So, yeah, Zach Hyman, also 50-goal scorer. Again, they can score. They can score, it seems, but with the physicality, with them being able to grind out games, with them being able to be such a well-balanced team and find ways to win here in the playoffs, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very, very, very interesting. Edmonton versus Florida is probably not the ratings, like the big ratings like a Boston in LA or whatever, or Boston in New York or whatever. It's probably not like that type of headline matchup, but I still think it's a very, very intriguing matchup. I still think there's a lot of star power on both sides that can make this a very intriguing Stanley Cup Finals. So yeah, very, very interested. I think it'd be cool for McDavid to get one here. But the Panthers, man, my former employer, have been very, very good here in the playoffs. Very, very strong. Barkov, Reinhardt, Bennett, as we said. And of course, Bob playing with the way he's been playing. It's going to be very, very interesting. I think it's going to be a good Stanley Cup Finals. You can let me know what you think. Now, with that said, we have reached time. It is time for the NBA Finals, but who will it be? Who will it be? Who will it be? And let's be honest, we honestly knew last week who it was going to be. There's no shame. I said it last week. It happened. All right, that is exactly what happened. The Celtics swept the Pacers. Okay, on Monday, day of, when we dropped 199. It happened. We knew. Unfortunately, the Pacers had an opportunity, once again with no Haliburton, had an opportunity to win this game, but just couldn't hold on. All right, they just could not hold on. Jaylen Brown, who ends up winning the Larry Bird Conference Finals MVP, has 29 in this game. JT has 26, 13, and 8. He's been on triple-double watch for a minute here in this playoffs. It's been, for what it's worth, and I'll give credit to JT, he's been very, very consistent. Very, very consistent and been filling up the stat sheet here in the playoffs. It's been an interesting evolution of his game that I've seen, especially in these big moments. And I think that bodes well for the Celtics, especially with the team they have to go up against. But yeah, JT flirts with the triple-double. Andrew Nembhard, his brother is Ryan. Andrew Nembhard continues to make a little bit of a surprise turn, maybe a potential star turn. He has 24, 6, and 10 in this game. So yeah, another great performance from Nembhard. He stepped up big in his playoffs, and I think rose his stock a lot higher, and could be looked at as, maybe a potential, pillar along with Haliburton on this Pacers team and Miles Turner. So we'll see what happens, but an impressive, even though he didn't finish well necessarily, and the Pacers, of course, didn't get it done and they got swept. Still some positives to be taken out for Indiana, and Nembhard's a lot of it. Spicy P had 19 and 10. Wasn't his most efficient night, but he did show up, so I'll give him that. But yeah, the Pacers just could not close this game. I think 5 minutes to go, they were up by like 5 or 6, and just, again, they couldn't make shots. Celtics defense just kind of latched on, and that was all she wrote. But then again, are we really surprised? We knew Boston was going to do this, especially when Haliburton went down. So the Celtics, as expected, get the sweep. They are back in the finals. Now, who will they be playing? Now, the Stars, they didn't make it. So one of the Dallas teams went down. But how about the other Dallas team? Could they get it done? All right, we were here at Game 5. Game 4, the Wolves struck back. They got it back in blood a little bit. You know, they kept themselves alive and prevented the sweep. But then Luka Doncic, to be completely honest with you, Luka just said, yeah, nah, we done with all that. Yeah, no more. Apparently, Luka just did not care to finish the series in Dallas. He had to, just because he is a real hater, and I have to respect a real hater. Luka said, we have to finish this in Minnesota. So Game 4, y'all got it. But when we get back to y'all crib, I'm shutting the lights off. And that's exactly what happened. He nearly outscored them in the first quarter. This game was not close. This was the rare where the dagger, for not just the game, but for the series, happened in the first quarter of this game. When Luka took that dagger 3, it was like you took a lead nail to a balloon. The air came out, and it was just done. It was just done. I mean, this is the calmest 36, 10, and 5 I think I've ever seen from a player. At least in a minute. He really could have dropped 60 in this game, but he basically sat the entire fourth quarter and some of the third quarter, to be honest with you. This game was not close. 124 to 103 is generous for Minnesota. They got smoked. They got smoked off of their court. KI also had 36. Again, the best backcourt in the game did what they do. Luka butchered them to start. Then they said, you know what, KI, you can just put the finishing touches on this. And that is exactly what happened. Cat had 28 and 12. But, you know, so I can't really, again, a lot of that happened in the second half and just kind of a little bit in garbage time. But, you know, as much as I want to slander Cat, at least he showed up here in Game 5. The other 4 games left a lot to be desired, even in Game 4. But he did show up here in Game 5, so I will give Cat that. But he needs to be more consistent. As a star center in this league for what Cat should be, and as a pillar on this Wolves team, you got to do better throughout this series and not just kind of, you know, oh, let me pop in like a Jamal Murray for one game and hope that's enough. That's not enough. That was not enough against the Mavericks in a series which he could have dominated if he played like, you know, what we expect Cat to be and not get smoked by Gafford and Lively wasn't even there half the time. Anthony Edwards had 28, 9, and 6. Wasn't his most efficient series, to be completely honest with you. But it was a good learning experience. Ant is only 22. All right, at the end of the day, Ant is only 22. This was really his first taste of kind of, you know, reaching this level of success. I think he raised his profile overall, so I think long-term, he'll be okay. Wolves, as long as they don't panic here, I think they'll be okay. Just keep building, keep developing. You don't need to make any crazy, I think, changes or alterations to this team. Just, you know, Ant needs to get better. Cat needs to get more consistent. Rudy needs to stop letting himself get bullied if he's the defensive player of the year. And you know what? The Wolves will be okay. But you know what? The Mavericks just were too dominant. That backcourt was too dominant. Luka Doncic, again, like I said last week, made his bid for best in the world. Is there anybody right now that wants to argue with me that the man Luka Doncic is not the best player in the world right now? I will allow Nikola Jokic, but besides that, right now in this moment, I don't think you can really argue with anybody being better than Luka. With what we saw in this series, the way he dismantled the best defense in the NBA, I mean, come on. I feel like we've gotten used to seeing what Luka does. We've gotten used to his greatness, in a sense. Like, if you look at his playoff averages, which is like 31, 9, and 8, or something like that, might even have one of the rebounds or assists in the teams, it's not normal. What Luka is doing is not normal. And I have no idea why we've acted like his entire career has been normal. 5 All-NBAs in your first 6 years is not normal. Being EuroLeague MVP at 18 is not normal, but we did not think he was a generational prospect for some reason. Youngest player in Real Madrid's history is not normal. But for some reason, I don't feel like we've given Luka, we treat Luka like a superstar, but we haven't treated him like, I feel like he should be he should get more flowers than he does. For what he's done so far in his young career, this is a GOAT level trajectory. This is a trajectory that could put him on that, that immortal tier of Jordan and Bron. He could hit that. He's the only one, bar, I guess, Wemby, because we still don't know what Wemby's going to be, that could hit that level right now of any active player. And it's not like, it's his first 2 years. He's been here for 6 years now, and it's been consistent over and over and over again. He's got everything you want in a superstar and in a premier talent and in the face of the league. So yeah, Luka Doncic, I'm glazing, but he's that guy right now. And we need to give Luka his flowers for what he's done. I'm not making a finals prediction because I don't want to alter the course of history because it's been rough. Whoever I say is the favorite just falls apart, and I don't want to curse either one of these teams. I just want a good series. So yeah, we'll see. Can of course Jason Tatum rise to the occasion and finally get the Celtics banner number 18 and prove that, this was a championship level core? Or can Kyrie get another one, and can Luka Doncic firmly sit himself atop of the throne of the NBA and carry himself as the leader of the next generation? We will find out. But that was the NBA. All right, ladies and gentlemen, with that said, that brings us here in episode 200 to the Roundup. No F1 this week. We are on a break. We're going to Canada, I think, next week. So, yeah, we'll be back for that. But we do have NASCAR. Austin Cindric gets it done at the Worldwide Tech. It was very interesting, by the way. I don't know who won. All right, this is going a little bit off topic of NASCAR. By the way, huge win for Cindric. Not that he's necessarily been driving bad, I would say, but it feels like, he won the Daytona 500, I think, 2 years ago as a rookie, and it built a little bit of hype for him, but he never really kind of delivered on that after that win. It just kind of slowed down, and he just kind of became an okay driver. But him getting this win pushes him, of course, into, the playoffs. So, yeah, I think that's huge for his long-term development and just for building momentum and getting some of that confidence back. So, huge win for Cindric. But I do want to say, very funny the contrast, right, of everybody coming off of the historic racing weekend last week, right? Indy 500, electrifying, great race. Then we go to Detroit, and it's just an absolute mess. And chaotic and honestly somewhat entertaining, though completely foul mess in Detroit. I have no idea who even won that race. I think Pato might have came out with it or survived, because to be honest, that's what it was. And then you have NASCAR also go to a road course at WWT, and Cindric gets it done. So and it's a little bit cleaner of a race, even though the Coke 600 was a disaster last week. So yeah, an interesting contrast there. But yeah, Cindric gets it done at WWT. The rookies are getting welcome to the W. All right, there's no other way to put it. After they had, some great weeks to start off, this was a very brutal week. A very brutal week. Why? I mean, everybody, again, I'm not so much on they're hating on Caitlin Clark. I feel like we're reaching a little bit. All right, we're reaching a little bit on we're hating on Caitlin Clark thing. But I will say, all right, after that Chicago Sky game, and listen, they hate a little bit. There's a little bit of animosity, or some of these girls feeling a type of way. All right. And also, I need to say this, Caitlin is burnt out. All right. She is burnt out. All right. There was her going through a slump. She's been through a slump before, but her shot, she's just gassed. All right. Which, to be fair, they had 11 games in 19 days, which is ridiculous. But yeah, Caitlin is gassed. The Fever are gassed. They need a break. All right. That woman needs a break. Okay, because it's just she's good. She's cooked. All right, she's cooked. The game yesterday against, what was it, the Liberty? Cooked. All right, Caitlin is cooked. But yeah, now they're hating. There's some animosity. Kennedy Carter just looked like a bozo with how she acted in the Sky game. I mean, I saw a lot of people being like, Caitlin was talking trash. So that's not how it works. That's not how it works. You can't just check her. Because if Caitlin came back and did that, y'all be like, hey, that's a messed up play. Why are we calling out Caitlin for it? So yeah, nah. But we can't do that double standard just because it's Caitlin and she's got to adjust her physicality because y'all don't like her. We're not doing that. So yeah, Kennedy Carter looks like a bozo. She's clown of the week if I was giving out a clown of the week. Angel Reese also had a horrid game, but she does lead the league in offensive rebounds. So yeah, shout out to Angel. Cam Brink slowed down a little bit. I don't know if she's still leading the league in blocks, but she might be, but she slowed down a little bit. Rakia is no longer perfect from the field, so that's slowing down for her. Alyssa Pilley, though, did start cooking, so yeah. The rookies still bringing the drama, bringing the entertainment, pulling in the crowds, but definitely getting welcome to the league a little bit right now. MLB, and of course, if we talk MLB, I have to talk about the Yankees. I have to talk about my team because there's been nothing greater There has been nothing greater currently than being a New York Yankees fan. And other Yankees fans watch this, you can commiserate with me. And we're not even really commiserating. We're in joy right now because we have the best duo in baseball. All right, Aaron Judge, praise him. Praise him. Praise the captain. Praise the king of New York. All right, the king of New York. All right, May Player of the Month. I don't even need them to officially say it for it to be true. Went ballistic. All right, to be completely honest with you, I went absolutely crazy in the month of May. Had an obscene OPS, had an obscene slugging percentage, and a bunch of home runs. It was glorious. All right, looking at my score sheet or watching a Yankees game and just knowing that they could not stop Judge, it just brought tears to my eyes. So yeah, after a little bit of a rough start for the captain, he got back to business. And Aaron Judge once again looks like the best hitter on the planet. He's currently hitting now .288, a league-leading 21 home runs, and a league-leading 1.075 OPS. So glory to the captain and the king of New York. Juan Soto also is still doing Juan Soto things, don't even worry. Dominican Ted Williams is still doing Dominican Ted Williams things. So yeah, the Yankees are in bliss. We are tops of the AL, and Soto and Judge are basically competing with Bobby Witt Jr. I will give Bobby his credit. But yeah, they're kind of going back and forth on the MVP race. But yeah, everything looking up for the Yankees. We'll see if we can keep that momentum going. And to end off here, as we end off episode 200, came out this morning. Ocon, that what happened last, 2 weeks ago with Pierre Gasly, that's not going to fly, buddy. That's not going to fly. So Ocon is out of here, all right? He is leaving at the end of the year for Alpine. That, adds to the silly season. I think it might get a little bit chaotic at the end of this year. I'm not going to lie because we do not know where half of these drivers are going. We know Ferrari set in, we know McLaren set in, and then we just kind of don't know, besides like Albon staying at Williams and Russell staying at Mercedes. It's just kind of up in air, up in arms. So we go see what happens. But yeah, Ocon will be looking for a seat somewhere, but it will not be at Alpine. And we don't even know if Gas is staying. So yeah, not a great year for Alpine in general. But yeah, Ocon leaving them. And yeah, we will see what happens as silly season kicks up and is really starting to fire up as we get to the second half and get closer to the breaks here in F1. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys enjoy Ocho for episode 200, signing off.